If you are a serious XRP investor like me and you're thinking a lot of other assets are starting to run higher, they're taking off, why is XRP still here? And you're concerned about the price movement, look at this and ask the question to yourself, are we following a pattern? Does it actually look like we are following the recent past? If it does, that means in next few weeks to few months, that's the time. That's it. 100 days. It's not a big time horizon. After waiting this long, 3 months, boom, that's great. Look at the price action. Look at the pattern. Look at the indicators. Your oscillators, your momentum, all of them is agreeing on one thing. Something big is coming. You just have to understand that. Right now, when you actually are watching, a lot of these assets are gaining momentum, running crazy. The issue in the market is when you really talk about these opportunities, not a lot of people really listen to you. Yesterday's video, I'm really surprised. Like, that was one of the worst performing video in the last 10 videos, where I have highlighted the fact that the opportunity window is opening up. And that's exactly what we are watching right now in the market. We are trading, literally. We are going through a lot of different trades, opportunities, calling through the breakouts, all those stuff, making it. But not a lot of them are interested in that. I'm confused. Why is that so? Because when I'm looking at that video itself, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people who are hitting that like button. They're smashing it. So if I'm comparing it with other videos, this has more percentage of people who like that video. I'm like, okay, those who watch did receive value. So when you guys actually smash those like buttons, it kind of helped me to spread the message across, giving you guys the idea that this is happening in the market. Because once you understand the fact that this is exactly what's going on, it gives you a massive advantage. We discussed through this, and that's exactly why we are so happy to see the price bounce off on a Sunday. Because when you actually take a look at XRP, its price action on a micro term, on a medium term, on a macro term, and you understand the fact that, okay, this is a bale moment, which is soon coming for the XRP holders. It is also for the entire crypto market. Instead of a red September, we just got a green one. Bulls are active here. This is great. This is huge. Does that really mean there is no concern? This range is right now acting as a bull flag. That's the way I would put it. You bounced up, you're doing this. If you break through this, that's like a huge rally is about to start. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. If you look at all these calls, all of them are now starting to explode. That's where the market is. What does that mean? If you're in the assets which are trending higher, hold on to them until there is a divergence. Until the big guys are dropping it, you want to drive it. And as soon as the whales are exiting, you want to take your profits. That's why I'm trying to focus on all these assets and giving you guys the calls. And if you want those to be on your side, then look at that link. It's going to help you massively. Now, when you jump back into the market, keep these in your mind. The market is there to do a lot of things like this. Few days back, a couple of weeks back, I was actually pointing up to this. What if this is a distraction? Okay, not what is, this is it. What if? You got the point. And I was highlighting the fact that, and they bluff the market and then push the price to the other direction, to the upside, right? The idea here is like whales are moving a ton of ether into the crypto exchange. Usually that's to dump into the market. But I was like, okay, if they're actually doing this consistently, like in a lot of different transactions, it's like they want to get the attention of the market, you and me, and they want to distract us. And that's why I'm like, okay, right now, after a couple of weeks, it does seem like that was a distraction. Because when you actually go look at the price of ether right now, there are few things which you have to keep in mind. But right now, this is what you're watching. This doesn't actually look bearish to me because that pattern was bullish. You broke higher. You're continuing this movement to the upside. You're at this local resistance. You're testing that level, but that still is bullish. You're actually moving back up from this pattern. The pattern itself was bullish. You were getting the divergence already. It was looking bullish. Now, look at all this. The volume in the MACD has already entered the positive territory. The moving average is there, the convergence and divergence. It's trying to enter the positive territory. What does that actually mean? It's slowly taking off. So it's going to range to the upside. It's going to come back to test all these resistance. For sure, you'll actually see multiple resistance playing out and the price coming to reach at those levels. So in the market, you do have to think like, okay, this is happening. If that's the price action, you want to interpret it correctly. If that's a message someone is trying to put in the market, you want to think about like, okay, what they want us to think and do the opposite. That kind of help you a lot of different ways, in a lot of different ways. We've been going through different calls, different stuff all over again and highlighting this fact. Like, just a few days back, I was talking about this. Think about this. We were in extreme fear. We slowly moved into fear, then moved into neutral. What does that mean? Which is the direction? We were in that extreme fear. We are coming out of that. Okay. Something like a greed is about to come into the market. And that's one of the reasons why you're watching like a lot of these assets are starting to move up. A lot of these momentum are entering. Great. Now, what about XRP? This is a big question which a lot of people actually ask me because I'm heavy in this particular asset. Now, if I'm looking at that, last time we came to this low, 35, 36. And historically speaking, you get a bounce from there. Great. Now we are also looking at the MACD, is the oscillators kind of, agreeing with the price action, with the momentum, everything. It is aligning. Last time, before the price went 1,000% to the upside, the price did actually follow all this. Or while you interpret the price, the indicators were able to show you this. And that's almost the case right now. So are you going to bet against this? Are you going to move out of this asset? It's completely up to you, but let me give you my perspective. And if you have a different thought process, do share that. I would like to know that. What's the other side of this spectrum, right? If you are looking at this, one thing is clear for all of us. This has been the direction for some time. You broke that to the upside. You are retesting that. You're trying to bounce off. You do have another trend line which you are respecting and bouncing off. Whether that's a macro, whether that's a medium term, it's all slowly creeping up. The momentum is increasing. Now there's a 3-day chart. Great. If you want to have a different viewpoint, what you can usually do is to go to a higher time frame structure, which kind of gives you a little bit more clarity. Why is that important? You want to actually know whether that short-term or medium-term structure agrees with the macro structure. If it does, that's where you get huge opportunities playing out. So here, your MACD crossed to the downside, showed you some negative, but you didn't actually go to the negative territory. You stayed in the positive range and bounced off. What the hell are we doing right now? I'm like, okay, that doesn't look a lot worse. You did get this. You did get the volume, kind of, choppy volume. It was confusing. That's why it was really hard to say this was going back up. But that's exactly when we were saying, I'm buying heavy. I think there is a bigger play coming in where big guys in the XRP community were saying XRP is not going to join the bull run. It did move up. Not like the crazy 100x, but did a decent move. Great. Now, when we look at that right now, it feels like we are about to do something similar. For some reason, we know around $2, $2.2, it's going to be the next local high on a macro scale. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? If it's me, I would actually think it is like, okay, there's going to be a lot of different assets which are going to run higher. There's a lot of assets which are trending higher. But if you actually enter into the market, you want to actually spread your risk in a way like, okay, there's a low risk asset. Maybe it's going to do a 25 or 30x. There's a high risk asset. Maybe it's going to do 100x. That's the risk you're willing to take. You want to actually understand the amount of risk which you personally can take on, because not everyone has the same risk tolerance. Not everyone has the same risk bearing capacity. A lot of people will go emotional when the price drops against their wish. That's hard. So it completely depends on how you want to think. And if you think like, okay, this is me, I can take on that amount of risk, great. But that's your thought process. Now you have to look at your real ability to take risk. If you're someone who have a family, the income, you have to spread all that into a sheet and then decide, do you really have that ability? And once you decide that, focus on this run up. You may really don't want to miss this next run up. This season is going to give you something great. Think about this. In a quarter, some of these assets have run up 300%. Last 30 days to 60%. Last 7 days, 45%. Momentum is increasing. See, you look at this asset. This is actually a micro asset without much volume. But look at that trend. People are jumping more and more into these meme coins. So new money is coming back into the market. It's actually good to see people are doing all this trade, taking profits and moving out. Because if you don't, others will actually take those profits and move out. You really don't want to be on that aisle if you are trading. You all do mistakes, but we do have to learn from those. If not, there is not going to be any improvement in that. Let me go back to XRP. I want to actually give you guys a thought process about XRP in this market, because the price action is showing you something similar is happening. And if you are ready to take that on, now you're zooming in. You really want to know, like, okay, that's the macro structure. I kind of understand where this actually comes from. Great. But I really want to look like, are we actually putting something beautiful? The higher highs, the higher lows, the trending higher, that kind of thing. On a short term, you had this micro inverse head and shoulder, which you broke higher, which you retested, and now you're bouncing off that. Which I'm like, okay, that is actually a good thing, because last time when you actually had similar pattern here, you did break to the upside, you did come back down to retest in similar pattern, and then boom. So I'm like, okay, you're doing something here on a medium note, and you're doing something here on the micro note. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of inverse head and shoulders. But you get the idea about what we are doing, right? Here you literally got the same, the micro, then the medium term, then the long term. Wow, all of them played out. So I'm like, okay, if that's the price history, which this asset is playing around in this cycle, in this wave up, in this move up, current scenario, I don't want to miss that. If this is the structure which it is making, it's going to actually do a burst here. Do you want to miss that? No. So I'm not moving out of this asset when a lot of assets are running up. But if you do have a trading portfolio, you are taking that benefit. That's why I say, like, watch through this, learn from the market, and that gives you an extended ability to make profits from this market and take it off. Take it off to real assets. I mean, hard assets, which you can touch, feel. Maybe gold, maybe silver, maybe real estate, depending on where you are in. Because some region, the real estate is sky high, it's about to drop. It's not good. Some region that's already down 40-50%, it's starting to bounce back up. It can be a huge opportunity. Now, how do you look for that? It's a different story. But now, when you're actually looking at these assets, understanding a divergence which came in, we discussed about that extensively. Now you're watching a trend to the upside. It all actually gives you an idea. When there is a dip, it's going to be buy the dip opportunity. That's something we have seen. Before the price moved up last time, we got a double bottom. Can we get that here before we bounce? If so, and you are looking at, I want to buy something a little bit lower, 0.5 or just below that, maybe the price is going to give you that opportunity. That's a short-term structure. That's what you're actually looking at right now. And if that comes in, you have to take that decision. You need to think about this. What's your risk tolerance? What's your focus? What target are you willing to wait for? If all of that comes in, and then you're like, okay, I have a few assets, I'm in all of those, I'm making this run up. I'm going to take the most out of this market this time around. That's what we are all waiting for. And if you need some kind of help from me on that, whether it's a one-on-one session where we go through your portfolio, discuss through my perspective of if it's me, what I would have done, whether you have 10 assets, whether you have 500 assets. Seriously, I've seen someone with 700. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of work for me. But depending on which area you come from, you'll have a different thought process. And once I understand that, I'm like, okay, this is what we are looking at. And then I give you my opinion. So if you are on that category, that can literally help you. You can look at this link in the description below. So guys, if you received value, please do smash that like button for me. I'll meet you guys on next video. Bye for now.